Welcome to the Court Explainer helicopter, where we are dealing with the question about offences injurious to the public in general. Do you know what the offences about religion concerned? Here, Court Helicopter is not scared to get into religion issues because the law has provided for how religion should be governed. There are offenses against religion. But let us go first to the constitutional provision of religion, Article 32 of the laws of Kenya, which I have here. This is the constitution. This is the law of the laws of Kenya. Article 32 provides for what the constitution is about. Let us read it. Article 32.1 is the freedom of conscience, religion, belief, and opinion. 32.1. Every person has the right to freedom of conscience, freedom of religion, freedom of belief. So, the Constitution guarantees you the freedom of religion, the freedom of faith. Religion here, it does not matter. We have several religions. Christianity, we have Buddhism, we have Confucianism, we have Hinduism, we have the Muslim faith, we have the Christian faith. All this, the Constitution in Article 32.1 protects. 2. Article 32.2 says, every person has the right, either individually or in community with others, in public or in private, to manifest any religion or belief through worship, practice, teaching, or observance, including observance of the day of worship. Every person, the Constitution allows you as an individual or as a group. One is to manifest. Manifest is to show, to practice. The law of religion allows you to practice. How? It is called manifest any religion or a belief through worship. You can worship in your own way. You too practice. The worship of a Catholic church is manifested by a different practice. The worship of Pastor Awori's, Dr. Awori's church is a manifest through a different practice. The worship of the Muslim faith, they manifest it by a certain way of practice. So the practice will be different. And the Constitution allows you to practice your worship, your faith different. Third, that manifests teachings. The teachings of different faiths are respected. The teaching of Pastor Ezekiel will be different from the teaching of Pastor Muiru. The teaching of Sitam Church will be protected different from the teaching of the SDA Church. So the teachings are distinct under the Constitution that way. Fourth, observance of the day of worship. How you observe the day of worship. The Muslims observe their day of worship on Friday. And how they pray 5 times a day, nobody can challenge that. The SDA observe their day of worship on Saturday. You cannot challenge that. How they worship it, how they start from morning to evening, you can't challenge that. The, the Catholics and Protestant churches, the PCA, the PAG, all the Lutherans, Pastor Nganga, Pastor Kanyari, they have their day of worship on Sunday. That is protected by this, the Constitution of Kenya. It moves on to say, one should not be denied access to any institution by virtue of their religion. And lastly, a person shall not be compelled to act or engage in any act that is contrary to one's personal belief or religion. There is complete autonomy of the Constitution on the issue of religion. So, what does the Penal Code talk about religion? Offences against religion. Article 1, that is section 134. I'll read in verbatim. As I said, this is a very sensitive question. It is people's faith. Court helicopter respects everybody's faith. Court helicopter will promote and respect any practice in any faith. We are a secular media house. We are not propagating ideals of any faith. We respect, and that is why we are bringing to you as the law provides. What is the law in section 134? Insult to religion. Insult to religion. Any person who destroys, damages, or defiles any place of worship or any object which is held sacred by any class of persons with the intention of thereby insulting the religion of any class or persons, or with the knowledge that any class of persons is likely to consider such destruction, damage, or defilement as a result to their religion, is guilty of a misdemeanor. It is an offense to insult religion. Get it very clear. That is why Court Helicopter is telling you, you have no right to insult any religion. If you destroy any of the worship places or instruments they use to worship, I know you don't like how they conduct their miracles. I know you don't like how they sing. I know you don't like how they dress. I know you don't like how they build their structures. You get mad, go and destroy. I know some churches, you don't like kneeling down. That is their way of doing it. Others have high tables. I know that's how you like it. I know some churches have musical instruments. You don't like them. You go there and destroy them. I know some churches have what they call the urns. They used some smoke. They use their sacraments. Any instrument used for religion. If you destroy it, it means you are insulting that religion. And you will be jailed. Therefore, today you know. Do not attempt to insult religion. The law protects religion, and nobody can insult by destroying, by demeaning, by bringing to disrespect the religious organization, what they believe. Just keep off. If you don't agree with them, just keep off. Number 2, disturbing religious assemblies. Any person who voluntarily causes disturbance to any assembly, lawfully engaged in the performance of religious worship or religious ceremony, is guilty of a misdemeanor. The people are baptizing their followers in a river. You storm there drunk, you with a panga, you chase them because you don't believe in somebody being thrown or being baptized the way they are being baptized. The people have holding a crusade. They have alliances to hold a crusade. You walk there, you disturb that religious function. The people are conducting their prayers facing Mount Kenya. You go there, you chase them because you don't like them the way they are practicing their faith. You got people climbing mountains to go and pray. You obstruct them from going to pray. It is kesha, crossover. You are busy drinking. You hear there is a church. They have gone for crossover that night. You go there and you stop them from doing the kesha. They have their musical concert. A big rally, they have called their faithfuls to come and conduct their prayers. You don't agree, you go and disrupt a church service. It is criminal. If you don't like the Muslim how they pray and the manner they pray, just keep off. If you don't like the Christians how they do their praise, keep off. If you don't like how the Indians with their temples build their temples and do their things, it is a criminal offense to interfere with a prayer or a congregation for the purpose of religion. Do not attempt to go to the Kaya forest to chase the Wazees from doing their issues. Do not go to Meru forest to chase the Njurinjeke when they are doing their issues. That is why when the Luyas, when they went for Jirongo with a torch to the forest to pray, nobody could stop them. It is protected. If you stop anybody exercising the worship in a manner that they want to do it, you cannot stop it. 136. Trespassing on burial places. Boss, do you know you can be arrested and be jailed for trespassing on a burial place? Let me read. Every person who with the intention of wounding the feelings of any person or of insulting the religion of any person or with the knowledge that the feelings of any person are likely to be wounded or that the religion of any person is likely to be insulted, thereby commits any trespass in any place of worship or in any place of sepulture. Sepulture, it is here, you look at it, it's sepulture. Or in a place set apart for the performance of funeral rites, or a depository for the remains of the dead, or offers any indignity to any human corpse, or causes the disturbance to any persons assembled for the purpose of a funeral ceremony, is guilty of a misdemeanor. Wow. Some churches have set aside graveyards within the churches. The Pope was buried within the cathedral. That is the sepulture. You can't go there to deface, to discredit that place where the bishops, the cardinals, the popes are going to be buried. My friend, if you try, you are insulting that religion, that place is a holy place. 2, you cannot interfere with the funeral being presided by the religious people. Everywhere we are burying our people, the religious people come to conduct a burial. the burial ceremony conducted by a religious person, that religious function is protected under Article 136. You cannot trespass there. So now you know, once the church takes over a funeral process, that is criminal. We have seen somewhere a madman is somebody coming to make noise. That is trespass on a body that is being buried. If you have a problem, get an order to stop the burial. But you cannot walk to a burial ceremony. And I repeat, it is there. Offers any indignity to any human corpse. If you give a corpse an abuse, remember what is the teaching and what the Lord says? Everybody must be given, when he dies or she dies, a decent burial. It is by the law. The decent burial excludes if you coming to humiliate the dead body. For example, the body comes in a coffin. When here you come, you want to tear that coffin, remove the body, throw it outside, and start joking with that body. It is a solemn process. You cannot humiliate a dead body. You cannot humiliate or insult the religious people doing that function. We have seen all over chairs being thrown over in a funeral. Now you know, if you are hired to go interrupt a funeral, you'll go in for 3 years. If you go into a church compound where graves are prescribed for religious leaders, you'll go in for 3 years. The youth, the Gen Z, once you are given your small lock, keep off from humiliating a dead body. The law now, you know, it deals with protecting human dignity and also the dignity of a dead person. Section 137, hindering burial of a dead body. My friend, this is common all over. You are hindering the burial of a dead body. Do you know it's criminal to hinder the burial of somebody who has died? My God. I've heard Vivian and Bramwell, caught helicopter crew, they have rushed to get an extinguisher because this is explosive. Whoever unlawfully hinders the burial of a dead body of any person, or without lawful authority in that behalf dissenters, dissects or harms a dead body of any person, you disarm, you harm a dead body, or being under a duty to cause the dead body of any person to be buried, fails to perform that duty, is guilty of a misdemeanor. Let me dissect it. 1, if you have no court order to stop a burial of a dead body, and you come with your pangas and your goons, my friend, you're going in for 3 years. You cannot stop a burial of a dead person unless you have a court order. 2, if you disrespect that dead body, how? You remove the clothes of the dead body, you remove the coffin, you remove the flowers put there, you remove the flag put there, you remove the cross put there, whatever paraphernalia that gives honor and respect to a dead body's burial. If you interfere, you'll go in for 3 years. Number 4, which is the most, number 3, which is the most critical. If you have a duty to bury somebody, if you have a duty to bury somebody, you fail to bury that person, do you know you can be arrested and be charged? Who are the people who have a duty by law to bury? 1, every parent has a duty to bury their children. If your child dies and you refuse to bury that person, you'll be arrested and be jailed for 3 years under Article 137, under Section 137. 2, every spouse has a duty to bury the other spouse. The husband has a duty to bury the wife. The wife has a duty to bury the husband. 3rd, the 3rd level are the parents and the uncles, the blood relatives called family. The family, it is not, my friend, don't tell, especially the Gen Zs, this is now telling you, you think you will not be bound to bury your family members. When your family person dies, it is the responsibility mandatory for the family to bury. People die abroad. Then you say, after all, it is expensive to get this guy here. There's a bill at the hospital. You don't pay. You'll be arrested to pay that bill. Get it very clearly. Family, it is by law. Why? A dead person must be given a decent burial. Today you know. If the decent burial is not available by the family, because there are people who die and they are called unclaimed bodies. The procedure is the public health office will declare those bodies, they'll advertise in the newspaper that these bodies have been staying in a mortuary for this time. Come and identify the body. If the bodies are not identified, a court must give an order for those bodies to be buried because they have no family members. If later it is discovered that this person who was declared a person who has no family was buried in a public cemetery without the family, those family members will be arrested and be charged for having failed to do the responsibility they have been given by the law as family members to bury their own. The government only came in because the family members cannot be traced. And if a family member can be traced, if it is 10 years, they'll go, the body will be exhumed and be handed over to them for them to bury with decent. The role of burying people is a role for family. It is not a role for outsiders. So today you know that it is not a request. When your relatives die, you have the legal mandate to bury a dead person. Lastly, writing or uttering words with intent to wound religious feelings. Writing or uttering words that wound religious feelings. Remember, religion is a very emotive thing. What you talk about religion can cause a serious disruption of peace in a country. Religious feelings are personal. What does the law say? Any person who, with the deliberate intention of wounding the religious feelings of any other person, writes any word, or any person who with the like intention utters any word or makes any sound in the hearing of any other person, or makes any gestures, or places any object in the sight of any other person, is guilty of a misdemeanor and is liable to imprisonment for a year. There are only 4 things that are emotional and personal. The first one is sports. Why people support Arsenal, Manchester, Man U, Man what, Woman what, whatever team you support. Do you know if somebody talks ill of that team, it is a provocation to violence? And that is why today Court Helicopter tells you the first thing you need to be very careful when you disparage a sport of another person. It is a defense if provocation, he or she can argue that he was provoked beyond any reasonable doubt. Sports. 2, political affiliations. We are heading to the politics. Court Helicopter is advising you that your differences, be very careful on how you talk ill about the political affiliation of the other person. The law allows everybody to practice politics and be a member of a political party of their choice. If we have this tolerance, and Court Helicopter tells you in 205, the post-election violence was because we could not tolerate each other. You must tolerate the feelings of other political parties, other people's politics. 3rd is love. Respect people's girlfriends or people's boyfriends, people's wives, people's husbands. Don't talk ill of who the person has chosen to love. It is that person who knows. Lastly is religion. And that is why this section is very critical. 138. The people who have gone to Pastor Ezekiel's church, respect their faith. People who are in Dr. Owori's church, respect their faith. People who have decided to go to the Catholic Church, respect their faith. People who have become Muslims or who are Muslims, respect their faith. People's faith is protected. Don't disparage faith. Quite a number on Facebook are disparaging religious leaders. Keep off. Keep off. Your duty is to move away, if you are a member of that faith, to where you are comfortable. There is no law that allows you to discredit, to criticize, to impute wrong motives on any faith. Any faith is protected under Article 32 of the Constitution. And that is why we started with the right of faith. How they practice their faith is because they are not answerable to the secular government of Kenya. In Article 32, you didn't see anywhere where the question of God is being guaranteed by the law. The question about the right worship, religion, God is about a creator somewhere. So let us not be judgmental on very many issues. Let us respect the law. Today, you know, it is a criminal offense if you disparage a practice of religion, and you'll be arrested and you'll be charged. You'll be talking about what you are looking at it, and you will not survive if you take that issue. Wakili Danstan Omari telling you as it is on the question about religion, on the question about burial, on the question of a dead body. Today, you know it. If you have a dispute, take it to court. Courts of the judiciary has competent courts to deal with the question about burials and who is allowed to bury and how should the burial be conducted. But don't take pangas to kill anybody. Happy New Year. You now know ignorance of the law. For you have been abusing religion. For you have been attacking places of worship. For you have gone to steal the wine from the altars. The Catholic Church changed the wine. They have a new brand of wine. Respect that wine. Don't go stealing that wine. It is not for you. That offense will attract you 3 years. Now you know. Court Helicopter will always bring it to you from the altars of the church to the law platform and to the courts. Happy New Year.